See you guys on Sunday. And the people, what up? The Carolina Panthers season opener. It's just a couple days away. I'm going to let you know what I feel good about and what I don't feel good about. And are we going to get a winning season? Good on you watching Panthers Post. Thanks for joining. All right, I'm going to get right to it. These are the things that make me juiced up and make me super paranoid with the Carolina Panthers heading into this year. And you're going to be surprised at some of the things that make me quite paranoid about this team. We're going to go position group by position group. They just released their depth chart. I'm going to get more into that, but I'll let you know what I'm not worried about. Some things that get me just fired up. And number one, of course, is the quarterbacks. Bryce Young. Sure, Bryce Perkins, not on the team anymore. That's okay. But Bryce Young. Yes, his preseason sucked. That second drive against the Cleveland Browns, that felt like it was 3 months away. Yes, he played a couple more series than he did last year, but I think that the thing I'm hanging my hat on is the fact that Bryce Young had an amazing second half of last year. We already know the story. The preseason before that, he barely played, and then we saw what happened. He had a brand new scheme with Frank Reich and everybody in his rookie year. Absolutely awful. He then follows it up by barely playing in the preseason under Dave Canales, first time head coach, made a rookie head coach mistake. And then we saw what happened the first two games. He got benched after being absolutely abysmal on the field there. And then he comes back like a phoenix rising. And he just was statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League against teams that literally made it to the Super Bowl that year. And maybe you could argue that maybe intrinsically in the back of their mind, they weren't playing the Carolina Panthers as hard. Maybe they're focusing on their run game instead of their pass game in terms of the Eagles. Shout out AJ Brown, who said after the game, what can they focus on to get better? One word answer, passing. So maybe they use the Panthers as an experimental team to kind of mess with different parts of the opposition's own weaponry. But it was still an NFL game in the regular season, and Bryce Young propelled this team in a direction I have not seen being propelled since one Cameron Jarrell Newton. Now, if his preseason, the one that just passed, was as abysmal as it was, and he only played, let's say, one game. If he had just played the Week 18 game against the Atlanta Falcons as is, if he played that well right there, and that was it, it was Andy Dalton a majority of the year, and they just kind of put Bryce Young in there as a relief or whatever, as like a put some tape out there. Maybe they can get a trade for him or something in the offseason. And then they weren't able to trade him, and he plays this preseason and it's gosh awful, sorry. Then I'd be worried. But as a fan, I know that he had those group of games and it was consistent that it wasn't always great, but it was consistent that he looked like a different dude. He looked as close to as advertised in the draft period when he was drafted first overall than he ever has. So he's got that in his back pocket in my head. I don't see him as a guy who likes to think about the past, but I think he has confidence in what he is capable of doing. I think we saw him in his flow state in Week 18 against the Atlanta Falcons, and I think he can carry that into this upcoming year. And I think they're doing everything they can to build around him, a little bit more on the weapons around him. But with Tetra McMillan out there for him, I feel like XL is going to be massive this year for him. The running game is being bolstered. And I think Dave Canales, as he has told Kay Adams, again, Dave Canales, I don't know how truthful he is with the media, but he says that he is ready and comfortable to open up some of those sexy plays for Bryce Young. He didn't do any sexy plays or taking any risks during the preseason. Barely went out there. I think he played 4 series more than he did last preseason. But let's just hope that he truly, truly, truly believes in Bryce, and he's not just blowing smoke up our ass, and he secretly is tanking this team to try to get a Drew Alar or Nussmeyer, or clearly not Arch Manning. People are already out on him, but one of those cats, Sellers, out of South Carolina. I don't think Dave Connell is that kind of guy, even though 1% of me is not sure if he's to be trusted, but I'm not worried about Bryce whatsoever. I think he's going to go out there. I think he feels good. I think he's going to sling it. I think he's going to take risks. I think he has great chemistry with Tetra McMillan, and I think it's going to be a beautiful partnership. So Bryce Young, not worried about him whatsoever. The running backs, I am not worried about the running backs whatsoever. And it's not just because Chuba Hubbard's Canadian, but I think Chuba is the kind of guy who gets a big contract, which he did, relatively speaking. I think he still keeps grinding. I think every offseason video I saw with the Carolina Panthers, it was Chuba Hubbard in a sleeveless and just a hat backwards, mind you, is always a vintage hat. The guy understands the culture. He understands what's going down with the Panthers. The best uniforms, the best color scheme, the best retro stuff. Just beautiful. Always rocking it. Team dude. And he's just putting in work. First one on the field, last one off the field. That should be the quarterback. It shouldn't be a running back, but it is. He's out there catching jug passes. He knew since day one when he was a rookie, he had a problem with hands, and he's consciously out there doing it, putting the work, trying to get better. He's a leader. He should be a captain. I know right now it's Derek Brown, Bryce Young, JJ Jansen, but I think they're going to have a rotating captain, and Chuba Hubbard has to be a captain every other week. I'm just saying. But then you got him, and you got Rico Dowdle. And I think he's going to be great as well. He's going to benefit from this offensive line, another strength on this team. Trevor Etienne, I think, adds a lot to the punt return game, kick return game. I think he's going to be a different kind of gravy when it comes late into the game as well. I know he's not bigger than either of those guys, but I think the way he runs, he's got the speed, he's got the young rookie legs, fresh legs. I think he's going to get out there, and I think he's going to do amazing things. I am not worried about this running back group a lot. There's a reason why we don't talk about it that much. There's a reason why they're probably the most underrated team aspect of our team in the NFL right now. Is because we just know they're good. Like Panther fans, we're so busy talking about the linebacker core and the wide receivers now, and the DBs and the safeties that we don't talk about the running back group because we already know they're good. They're solid. They're sorted. They're good to go. I am not worried about this running back group. I think both of those guys could potentially be 1,000-yard rushers each. Let's switch it up a little bit. I feel good about this defensive grouping, and that is the defensive line. I don't care what I heard from Jonathan Alexander. He used to cover the Carolina Panthers with the Charlotte Observer, now covers the Houston Texans. He outwardly said that the Panthers' defensive line sucks, that they're bad. And I just don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. I think it does. I think it goes against everything that football's about. You have the worst, statistically worst defense, especially in the run game, ever in the National Football League. It's been going on for over 100 years now. And you add a Super Bowl winner in Tershawn Wharton, and then you add other dudes like massive wrestling fan Bobby Brown out there, who's behind Ashawn Robinson, but that's okay. He's there. You return Derek Brown. You draft Princey Umanmielen, who is a dog. Yes, he's an undersized dog, but so are friggin' pit bulls. There's some small pit bulls out there. So are bulldogs. Have you ever seen a Boston Terrier? They will eat your remote control. They will eat your bones. If you're dead, you're caught with a Boston Terrier, they will eat you till there's nothing left. Have you seen African wild dogs? Look it up on Instagram. Nature is metal. They are ferocious, and they are a fraction of the size of a lion. Either way, not saying that Prince Emmanuel is like some kind of little puppy, but he has got the attitude. He's got that dog mentality, and I don't think he has an ego that would allow him to suck. So I'm just saying it. So you got him, Nick Scorton, dealing with his thing. I think eventually, when he is 1,000,000% healthy, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I just think this defensive line, just adding Derek Brown. If you didn't add those two rookies, and you just add Derek Brown, I think that just automatically makes your defensive line at least somewhat average. But then you add Wharton, and then you got Bobby Brown, and then you got Patrick Jones, who had a great preseason. Incoom as well, who's been with the team for quite some time. He's also a firecracker. And then you got DJ Wanham as well, coming back from last year. He barely played last year because of the complications from his surgeries and blood clots and all that. He's got a full offseason under his belt, not just trying to get healthy, but just trying to get good at football and get to an elite level. You got him, and you got two guys in Scorton and Uwe who were, for many people, first round grades, and we got them in the second and third round. So if you're telling me that isn't enough to improve this defensive line, then football doesn't make any darn sense. You had no talent, you added talent, you added Pro Bowl talent, you added Super Bowl talent, and if that somehow doesn't translate into at least an average run stopping defense, then I don't know what's going on with football. Ejiro Evero doesn't know what's going on with football. He should be fired. I think this defensive line is going to be a strength. I think they're going to bully people. I'm not worried about these guys whatsoever. Talk about the other side of the trenches. Like this, again, Dan Morgan, I forget who said it, but Dan Morgan beat CTE. Like, the man has a plan. Like, I've never heard of a GM attack an offseason the way he does. It's just so out there. Unless he's talking about drafting Jalen Walker. That was a complete farce and smokescreen. We all fell for it. But the man GMs like he's a linebacker. Like he seeks, he destroys. That's what he does. 2 years ago, he sought the improvement of the offensive line. He did it. He killed it. Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt. This year, he sought the improvement of the defensive line. He destroyed it. He threw everything at it. Besides drafting Tetra McMillan at 8th overall, man went hard on defense back to back, and he continues to build in the free agency. He built in the draft, and he is doing it. And as I said before, I think this is going to be a strength on this team. The fact that they brought everybody back on this offensive line is massive. Chemistry is huge on this, especially chemistry with your quarterback, chemistry with your running back. You know, when I drank a cup of coffee in college playing football for a year, knowing and having faith in your offensive line and how they move, how strong they are, and just feeling their energy, and like you kind of in the zen. I talk about Bryce Young being in a flow state, a running back and an offensive line could be in a flow state as well. I think it's gonna be huge. Ike Ekwonu getting his appendix out this last week, not amazing timing, especially for a guy who is just it's just an easy target. Like he's super happy all the time, got the knock knees, sometimes looks stupid on film at times, and now he's got an appendix issue of all things. An appendix. Like, is he a baseball player? Like, just super random. I feel bad for the guy. I wanted him to be with the Panthers long term. Is he a long term left tackle? I don't know. He is a bit of a liability there. It seems like Damian Lewis should be good to go. I think we know Robert Hunt gets a lot of attention, but Damian Lewis seems to be the real dog on that team. You got Taylor Moton signing an extension with the squad, and then you got Austin Corbin in the middle. Again, massive human of a man, backed up by Cade Mays, who's had time, who could have been a trade piece to another team, but they kept him. That's a good thing. Brady Christensen, the ultimate utility guy. And I think this offensive line is only going to get better as long as they keep them around. And yeah, just keep an eye on Ike Ekwonu. As long as he is healthy, then I'm feeling pretty good about this team. What I feel kind of about, like, oh, I don't know. It kind of every day could be a little bit different how I feel about this position group. And that's the cornerback group. Yes, JC Horn is on this team. But has he played a full season yet? No. I think he's going to be a Panther great. I think that he is going to be, now that he's newly paid, he also doesn't strike me as someone who just kind of rests on their laurels. I just don't think that. I think he's kind of cut from the same cloth as a Chupa Hubbard. He wants to get out there and he wants to work. As long as his pinky's good and everything's good after that fender bender, I want him to be healthy. But it's the other side of the cornerback position. Yes, Mike Jack is good. He's not paid like he's a superstar. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Carolina Panthers were to draft a cornerback high, as in the first round next year. I just don't think he's going to be there forever. Backed up by Corey Thornton, who is an undrafted free agent. I hope he's a gem, another gem found by Dan Morgan. But if your backup was an undrafted free agent corner, and then you got Mike Jack, who's not necessarily a Pro Bowler, I'm a little bit worried about that. And then we also have Charles Smith Wade backing up JC Horn. Again, he's shown improvement. I don't know if he's a game wrecker, but hopefully with this, again, it's all synergistic. It's all working together. If this defensive line puts pressure on the quarterback and then makes them make stupid throws, bats down passes, that results in easy interceptions for the guys like JC Horn, Mike Jack, and all those guys, and it could feel a little better. As long as those two guys stay healthy, and we're not relying on Thornton, who, again, he's fine, but just you don't want to rest your hopes on him right now. Charles Smith Wade, admirable player, came in there and clutch when people went down. But again, you don't want to lose your top two corners, and that to me freaks out a little bit. I talk about the offensive line. You lose Austin Corbett, you got Cade Mays. You lose Ike Ekwonu, you got Brady Christensen. Like, you got guys who can move around on the offensive line. At the corner position, I don't know if after those two dudes, I don't know if I trust them 100%. That's why this is kind of like iffy. I think it's a good group. I think it's kind of a little worried. Another side of the defense that I am super duper concerned about. And, you could say, as I just mentioned, it's all synergistic. Maybe the defensive line does their job. These guys' jobs make it easier. And that's the linebacker group. Christian Roseboom, Trevin Wallace, they don't instill confidence in me. They kind of look like Timu, Thomas Davis, and Luke Kuechly. I'm just saying, like that's what's going on right now in my head. I know they got other guys who have had good off seasons, good preseasons, but none of these guys to me seem like alpha dudes. And I hope it happens. I hope Trevor Wallace proves me wrong. Like it wasn't like he was a low drafted player. Like he was out there and he was doing things. And he's a bit undersized. Can they take advantage of the defensive line and the running lanes that they do give them to try to stuff runs and all that stuff, get to the quarterback? Absolutely. I have faith. But I'm just saying, out of this defensive group, that is the one side that just freaks me out. Absolutely freaks me out. I could see them getting completely bowled over. I forget. I think it was the first preseason game actually that Christian Roseman just got turned around against the Cleveland Browns. And I just don't think he's the kind of athlete that can overwhelm and take over a team the way a Luke Kuechly could and a Thomas Davis could. I don't think either of them can do that right now. So yeah, like if it wasn't for Buddy leaving with a concussion, like Trevin Wallace would be the second linebacker. Like it was Josie Jewell. It was Josie Jewell's unit, and then it was Trevin Wallace. But now it's Trevin Wallace. Like it's him. He's the guy. And I I'm not feeling good. And maybe it's my Harold Perkins Jr. drafted by the Carolina Panthers next year agenda, but I just don't think I have a very little faith in that group. All right, another grouping with the defense, the safety group. So Nick Scott still listed as a start on the team. I don't know why people hate him so much. Is it because his name is Nick Scott? I don't know. But obviously, Trevon Moehrig, huge addition to this team. I think he's going to be absolutely massive. Latham Ransom, rookie at Ohio State. You know, I think he's going to get plays. I think it's going to happen. Like I think the public sentiment on Nick Scott being a starter over Ransom, I think eventually we're going to get our wish. Pressure's on Nick Scott to not screw it up. So that's all I got about to say. Safety position. I don't think it's going to be forever. I think we're going to see Latham Ransom. There's a reason why they picked him up. I think it's going to be him and Trevon Moehrig. But at the moment, not the most faith. This one might surprise you in terms of the faith that I have, and it's kind of a bit of a switch. And things have changed with this unit, and that's a wide receiver room. Like yes, heading into cut down day, we had Tetra McMillan, 8th overall pick. I think he's gonna be a stud. Saying that now, Xavier Leggett, a lot of pressure on him. He was a first round pick last year. They traded up to get him. And I thought he had a good rookie season for a rookie wide receiver coming from getting balls from a quarterback who some people thought after week 2 wouldn't be in the league anymore. I thought he did fine. A lot of pressure on him though. I think a lot of it's just he's just in our face too much, and it's not his fault. He's getting that money. I hope he gets it. I hope he stays in the league forever and doubles down, triples down. But he has to perform. Absolutely. The notions that he can't catch, it's all body catches, can't catch with his hands, all that stuff. It's not fast enough, not quick enough. I think that's all baloney. I think he's going to have a massive season. Pressure's on him, though, more than anybody in this wide receiver room. Adam Thielen was in this room. Seemingly, he thought that this team wasn't for him anymore. He was being kind of phased out. He is no longer here anymore. So we thought, oh, Jalen Coker, he is the heir apparent, clearly, to Adam Thielen. He's big, he's strong, he moves the chains, he's fast, sneaky fast. What happens? He sprains or strains, aka that's the fancy word for tears. He significantly tears his quadriceps. You don't have to be a kinesiology major to realize that you need your quadriceps to play football, to run, to cut, to jump, to fall down properly, to brace your knee. It helps protect your knee. If your quad is effed, your knee is effed. You want an ACL tear? Have a weak quad, have weak hamstrings. This is the second time he's hurt his quad this calendar year, I believe. If you're hurting your quad, the same quad that much, I'm starting to think it's a bit of an issue. Last year wasn't that bad. This year it's significant. What's the next one going to be like? What is the next one going to be like? And I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of faith in this Carolina Panthers medical team that put Jonathan Brooks out there way too early, tore the exact same ACL, didn't want to put him out on Bayern Munich's pitch because it was too thick. If you are worried about grass, then you should not be putting a running back out there who gets hit even when he doesn't have the ball, but guys who are nearly 400 pounds. And then you put him out there, and then guess what? Are you surprised he tore his ACL again? I don't want them to rush Jalen Coker, like the man's not getting paid enough to have his career ruined that quickly. Um, but I am worried about his longevity. I am honest. I am very concerned about his longevity, not just with the Panthers, as a professional football player. If he continues to continually tear his quad in a collision sport, like Dave Canal said, he went out there and he said, "Hey, I was not a fan of your body composition and how you looked." I mean, he was a undrafted free agent at a Holy Cross. It's not like he's working with like LSU's weight room and nutrition coach. He came out there kind of looked like a kid. He's built like a really big kid. Not exactly ripped to shit. He wasn't Terrell Owens out there. And then he does get in shape. He helps his body composition. What happens? Injury comes back, even worse. So I don't know what this kid can do. If I'm him, I just sit him down. He's not going to play for the first couple weeks. I would sit him down for the year. Get right. Get right with the quad and get into football shape. Um, because yeah, I'm worried about him. So now you lost Thielen, who was your dependable hand moving the chains, and now you lost Jalen Coker, who is his heir apparent. So now you bring back the guy you cut in Hunter Renfrow, who said he only wanted to be with Carolina or nobody. And so now you got two guys who are over 6'1". And now you got Hunter Renfrow, who's like, what, maybe 6 feet? Just coming back from, forget a quad injury, an autoimmune disease. Yes, it's amazing that he got invited to a camp, got cut. Now he's making the team with his hometown team, Myrtle Beach guy. But now that's quite the drop off. I'm not saying that Jalen Coker was better than Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow, way higher pedigree in terms of college, what he's accomplished in the pros. He is a vet. Jalen Coker has not accomplished as much, not even close to what Hunter Renfrow has done. But you're relying on him now to be your slot guy. Like if you look at the depth chart, it's slot and it's Hunter Renfrow. That's it. So you got Tetcha McMillan, who again still going to be a stud. Xavier Leggett, no Adam Thielen, no Jalen Coker. Now we got Hunter Renfrow. And then you got David Moore, who's 30, kind of a coach on the field. And then you got Bryson Tremaine, kind of came out of nowhere. Guy out of Stanford, big dude, half Asian. I don't know what kind of Asian, but you got a half Asian on this team. I'm going to find them and I'm going to be a fan, especially if their name is something cool like Bryson Tremaine. Like that is freaking sick. He sounds like an R&B singer or something. They also plays football, but you got him. I think he can kind of be a surprise wide receiver out there. Maybe he becomes the new Jalen Coker. Comes out of nowhere, big body. He's bigger than Jalen Coker, and he's clearly making plays. And he's on this darn team. And then you got Jimmy Horn Jr., who everyone was excited about. He was lightning in a bottle. He's coming out here, University of Colorado. Look at all the yards he got. That's sharing a field with Travis Hunter. And here he is out here. He is behind Bryson Tremaine. Now, I don't know what's going on. Like, I haven't heard Dave Canal specifically say anything about Jimmy Horn, any problems that he's having. For someone who's that fast, according to beat reporters, that he plays faster than his 40, because his 40 wasn't insane. Like, I think his 40 was a little bit faster than Xavier Leggett, who's like 40 pounds heavier than him. I don't know if it's just a mental thing. I don't know if he's not picking up the playbook. I don't know if they're not giving opportunities because maybe David Connors likes a certain type of wide receiver, aka big body wide receivers. But he's not getting, like, he is fourth on the depth chart. Like it is, I believe it is Xavier Leggett, Bryson Tremaine, and then Jimmy Horn. Like I think that's the depth chart. And it seems like Trevor Etienne is taking the kicks. So if Jimmy Horn's not taking kicks, he's that deep on the wide receiver depth chart. Like I don't know what role he is. Like maybe he's just like a one play guy and it's a home run hitter type thing. But I thought maybe they would use him like the cat out of Kansas City. I already forgot his name. But he's just the speedster that kind of appears once a game for a home run hit. That could be him, but he's not. He hasn't produced in the preseason. I don't know what maybe we're just excited about him because we just haven't had someone who has those traits. So we just think, oh, you have those traits. You must be awesome. But it hasn't shown. It hasn't shown in the preseason. Mind you, very little was shown in the preseason, but he hasn't shown enough to justify the hype that he has gotten heading in. And I was hype about him. I thought, yes, we need someone with that speed. We haven't seen someone that kind of speed since a Emir Smith-Marset, who got cut, or a Ted Ginn Jr. for maybe happier memories. We haven't seen someone like that. So I don't know. The wide receiver room, like it's top heavy. Like you got the two guys with Tet, XL. Hunter Renfrow was a wild card. He hasn't played against live bullets in a year, like over a year. And we'll see if he still got, like, he was literally, he couldn't answer the Panthers phone calls. He missed 10 phone calls because his kids were watching Bluey on it. Like, he's a dad now playing out there. Not saying dads can't play football, but like that's what he was doing for a year. And now he's out here playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe Travis Hunter's going to cover him at some point. Like, he's going to have dudes trying to rip his head off. Then you got him, and then you got unknown and Bryson Tremaine, and then you got someone who hasn't really done much in preseason, but is fast in Jimmy Horn, and then you got David Moore, who's always dependable. Like, so this wide receiver room to me was like a real strength of this team. But now I'm kind of worried about this wide receiver room. You're one injury away to Xavier Leggett, who again got injured last year, hurt his wrist. Now you, if you lose him, you got Tetra McMillan, David Moore, Hunter Renfrow, Bryson Tremaine, and Jimmy Horn. That's not awesome. You just double team Tet, and then you say, okay, let Hunter Renfrow beat us. Let Hunter Renfrow and David Moore beat us. Two sub 6 foot dudes. Oh, Bryson Tremaine, yeah. Let this guy, like, who know, I don't even, where did we find him? Out of Stanford. Yeah. Let's have him beat us. So here's my prediction. I think this team is not going to be as flashy as we like. I think we're going to have a good amount of Bryce to Tetra McMillan connections, Bryce to XL connections. But I think this team, the way it's shaping up right now, with whatever's happening in the wide receiver room, until they figure it out, until they figure out who is like a dude, is Hunter Renfrow for real? Is Bryson Tremaine ready to take that step like quickly? Can Jalen Coker get healthy? I think this is going to be a run heavy team, like super duper run heavy. I think Dave Canales wants that. And it's going to be a heavy dose of Bryce to Chuba, Bryce to Rico, Bryce to JT Sanders. I just forgot. I am also a little bit worried about the tight end room. JT Sanders, limited sample size. Tommy Tremble coming back from back surgery. Mitchell Evans not developing as quickly as we thought. Again, he was a later round tight end pick. Tight ends take a while. So tight end room, JT Sanders, a lot of pressure on you to be like the guy right away. Like, I need you to be Isaiah Likely, likely week one, like immediately, and don't get hurt. I think we're gonna be a run heavy team. And then when the opportunity strikes to go downfield to a Tetra McMillan, to find a streaking Xavier Leggett, to move the chains with a Hunter Renfrow who loses his nickel cornerback, absolutely. But I think we're going to be not as flashy as we'd like, because I just right now losing Jalen Coker and Adam Thielen in a week's time, I think changes the calculus a little bit. I think the defense is going to be stout. I think they're going to give Bryce better field position. And I think the Panthers are going to be serviceable. I think still, like, just looking at the NFC South, I think the Saints are going to be a dumpster fire. I think the Falcons aren't as good as people say they are. And the Bucks, as I put on X today, they're on their third offensive coordinator in 3 years. I don't care. Like, Baker Mayfield isn't Peyton Manning. Like, unless he's like the most malleable dude, or like whoever comes in an offensive coordinator just like doesn't change anything, you're still having a different human with a different brain calling plays. And maybe it doesn't work out. So I think it's wide open. I really do. I think the Panthers could potentially still come away with at least 7 wins. 7 wins is the floor for me. I think the ceiling, 9. 9-8. Can the Panthers go 9-8? I can see. I would be friggin' thrilled if that happened. Let me know in the comments below. Who you hype about? Who you kind of hesitant about? How do you feel about this team now? See you guys on Sunday.